Marcus hadn't slept in 47 hours. His daughter's fever had finally broken at dawn, and now he stood in the empty executive washroom of Sterling Technologies at 6:47 a.m., splashing cold water on his face, trying to remember if he'd locked his apartment door. The janitorial cart beside him held everything he owned that mattered. Emma's inhaler, the eviction notice folded in his pocket, and a photograph of his late wife that he touched like a talisman every morning. He was 32 years old, a widower, a father, and so tired that when he heard the door open behind him, he didn't even turn around. The reflection in the mirror showed a woman in running clothes, earbuds in, completely oblivious to his presence as she peeled off her sweat-soaked shirt. Marcus froze. This was the executive floor. He wasn't supposed to be here. He'd only come up because the third-floor bathroom was being renovated, and Emma's medication had made him nauseous. Now he was witnessing something he absolutely shouldn't be seeing. He could have coughed, could have said something, but his sleep-deprived brain made a different calculation. If he stayed perfectly still, if he didn't make a sound, maybe she'd never know he was here. Maybe he could slip out without, turning this into the thing that got him fired from the only job keeping, a roof over Emma's head. The woman moved to the sink, still in her sports bra, and that's when Marcus saw her face clearly. Victoria Chen, the CEO, the woman whose portrait hung in the lobby, whose quarterly addresses he'd watched on the company, monitors while mopping floors. His heart stopped. Then her eyes met his in the mirror. "Oh my God!" She spun around, grabbing her shirt. "What are you? Who are you?" Marcus raised his hands, backing toward the door. "I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm Marcus, night janitorial staff. I didn't mean to. I got sick. And the third-floor bathroom is closed, and I wasn't thinking." "You've been standing there this whole time?" Her face flushed with anger and embarrassment. "I didn't know what to do. I thought if I stayed quiet—" The words tumbled out, pathetic and desperate. "Please, I have a daughter. I can't lose this job. I'll take any punishment, but please don't fire me." Victoria's jaw tightened. She pulled on her shirt with sharp, angry movements. "Get out. HR will be contacting you." Marcus fled. He made it to the stairwell before his legs gave out. He sat on the concrete steps, head in his hands, and tried not to cry. This job paid $11 an hour, barely enough, but with his night schedule, he could be there when Emma got home from school. Could help with homework, make dinner, tuck her in before heading to work. Most importantly, it came with health insurance. Emma's asthma medication cost $300 a month without it. He'd lost jobs before. After Sarah died, he'd fallen apart, missed shifts, showed up hungover. He'd been a mess. This job at Sterling Technologies had been his chance to rebuild. 18 months of proving he could be reliable, be invisible, be whatever they needed him to be. And now, in one horrific moment, it was over. Marcus worked his shift in a fog. Every time his supervisor walked by, he braced for the summons. It never came. At 7 a.m., he clocked out and took the bus home, where his neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski, was giving Emma breakfast. "Daddy!" Emma's face lit up like he'd hung the moon. 7 years old. All gap-toothed smile and wild curls like her mother's. Mrs. K made pancakes. He held her tight, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. "That's great, sweetheart. Go brush your teeth. We've got to get you to school." Mrs. Kowalski, sharp-eyed at 73, studied him. "You look terrible." "What happened?" "Nothing, everything. I don't know yet." He pulled out the last $20 bill in his wallet. Tried to hand it to her. She waved it away like she always did. "Save it. You need it more than me." At Sterling Technologies, the call came at 2 p.m. Marcus was asleep, or trying to be, when his phone buzzed. HR wanted to see him at 4 p.m. He had 3 hours to figure out what to tell Emma about why Daddy wouldn't have a job anymore. He showed up at 3:45, showered and shaved, wearing the one button-down shirt he owned that didn't have a stain. The HR director, a stern woman named Patricia, didn't make him wait. "Mr. Harris, I understand there was an incident this morning." "Yes, ma'am." "I take full responsibility. I shouldn't have been on the executive floor." Patricia's expression was unreadable. "Ms. Chen has requested to speak with you personally. She's waiting in conference room A." Marcus's stomach dropped. She wanted to fire him herself. Maybe call the police. He followed Patricia down hallways he'd only ever cleaned, past offices with views of the city, to a glass-walled room where Victoria Chen sat alone, still in her business suit from whatever meetings had filled her day. Patricia left them. Victoria gestured to a chair. "Sit." He sat. She studied him for a long moment. "Tell me about your daughter." Of all the things he'd expected, that wasn't one. "Ma'am, this morning you said you have a daughter. Tell me about her." "Emma, she's 7. She has asthma and she's smart. Way smarter than me, and she wants to be a veterinarian." The words came out cautiously. "She's everything. Her mother died, cancer, 2 years ago." Victoria's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "I pulled your file. You've been here 18 months. Never late, never called in sick. Your supervisor says you're the most reliable person on his team. Before that, you had gaps in your employment. I fell apart when Sarah died. Took me a while to get back on my feet. And this job, it's important to you. It's everything to me. The insurance, the schedule, I can be there for Emma." He met her eyes. "Ms. Chen, I'm sorrier than I can say about this morning. It was an accident, and I made it worse by not speaking up immediately. But I swear to you, I would never—" She held up a hand. "I believe you. What happened this morning was awkward and unfortunate. But I don't think you had malicious intent." She leaned back. "However, it did make me look at something I should have been paying attention to all along." Marcus braced himself. "I built this company from nothing," Victoria continued. 20 years ago, I was coding in my apartment living on ramen. Now we employ 4,000 people, and somewhere along the way I stopped seeing them. You work nights, so I've never seen you? Most people haven't, but you keep this building running." She slid a folder across the table. "Sterling Technologies pays its janitors $11 an hour. That's above minimum wage but below living wage for this city. You have health insurance, but the co-pays are enormous. You're one emergency away from catastrophe." Marcus stared at the folder, afraid to open it. "I spent today thinking about what happened this morning," Victoria said. "About being seen when we don't want to be. About vulnerability. And I realized that I've been invisible to you in a different way. I've been a portrait in a lobby, a voice on a monitor. Not a person who remembers what it's like to be scared and struggling." She opened the folder herself. "This is a new position I'm creating. Building Operations Manager. It comes with a salary of $65,000 a year, full benefits, and normal daytime hours. You'd oversee all facilities staff, work with department heads on space planning, manage vendor relationships. It's a real job with real responsibility." Marcus couldn't breathe. I don't have a degree. I never finished college. Neither did I. You have something better. You show up. You care. You pay attention." Victoria's eyes were intense. "I'm also creating a child care center on the 2nd floor for employee use. Emma would have a place to go after school until you're done working. And I'm raising the starting wage for all hourly employees to $18 an hour. Because if this morning taught me anything, it's that I need to actually see the people who make this company run." "I don't understand," Marcus whispered. "Why would you do this?" "Because this morning, in the worst moment, you thought about your daughter. Not yourself, her. You begged me not to take away her stability." Victoria's voice grew quiet. "My father raised me alone. I watched him work 3 jobs, sacrifice everything. I swore that when I had power, I'd use it differently. And then I forgot. You reminded me." Tears blurred Marcus's vision. "I don't know what to say. Say you'll take the job. Say you'll help me build something better here." He thought about Emma, about telling her that Daddy got promoted instead of fired, about being home for dinner, for school plays, for all the ordinary moments he'd been missing, about sleeping at night instead of pushing a mop cart through empty hallways. "Yes," he managed. "Yes, thank you." Victoria stood, extended her hand. "Thank you, Marcus, for reminding me what matters." 3 months later, Marcus stood in the new child care center, watching Emma play with the children of accountants and programmers and designers. Mrs. Kowalski had been hired to help run it. Turned out she had a teaching degree she'd never mentioned. The facility was bright and warm, filled with books and art supplies and the sound of children laughing. Victoria stopped by sometimes, always with a wave for Emma, always interested in Marcus's ideas about improving workplace culture. She'd been right, he was good at this job. He understood what people needed because he'd been there, invisible and struggling. The story eventually leaked. A journalist got wind of it. Wrote a piece about the CEO who'd turned an embarrassing moment into a company-wide transformation. It went viral. Other companies called, wanting to know how Sterling Technologies had improved retention and productivity. Victoria always gave the same answer. We started seeing people. Marcus kept the eviction notice folded in his desk drawer, a reminder. Sometimes Emma would visit his office, eyes wide at the view from the 4th floor. Is this really your office, Daddy? It really is, sweetheart. Mama would be proud. He pulled her close. I think so, too. The accidental encounter that could have destroyed everything had instead rebuilt it, not through grand gestures or fairy tale magic, but through two people choosing kindness in a moment when they could have chosen anger, through a CEO who remembered her humanity and a father who never lost sight of what mattered most. In the end, being seen, really seen, had changed everything.